Yes, I got it. Thank
Yeah, more buttons. You got to find them all.
you. More buttons. All right. Oh, look, there we are. I see us already. We're live. Let's give the Facebook bots a minute to, oh, it looks frozen.
Yeah, it might just,
Is it just
you know,
me?
it's
Oh, no, there
always
we
goes
go.
faster than I think it does.
I
So
know.
it could be already happening. What do
Well,
we
it is
know?
happening. Here we are. Look, it's us.
Hi, there
So
you are.
hi, us. All right, Rebel Writers. Happy Saturday, everybody. It is apparently dreary all over the United States today. Here in the Midwest, it is cold and dreary. And Monifa, remind us
And
where you are.
I'm in California and it is so overcast right now. Might as well be nighttime.
Right, right. So we've got our lights happening. We're gonna make our own light, our own sunshine here today for all of you. Um, yeah,
If you say so, Renee.
I do say so. Gosh darn it. Well, Rebel Writers, I wanted to bring you this amazing treat today, talking with Monifa Harris, because um, not just because the Voicing Your Vision, let me slow down a minute. Not just because the Voicing Your Vision Summit is starting on Monday, which you may have seen, I have been posting about because we have an amazing conversation about creativity and writing and healing, all those things that you Rebel Writers know about. But also because this summit is chock full of so many amazing speakers that Monifa has brought together to really get to the heart of the conversation of how it is to be a leader who is a creative and sensitive and maybe the vulnerability of being in leadership and being a voice to your vision it's hard work. And
It is
so
hard work.
yeah, so I wanted to, especially for all you Rebel Writers out there, to have this conversation today, to introduce you to Monifa, and to talk about this amazing summit that's coming up for all of us.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I've been so thankful for all of the posts that you've been putting out and your full support of this. And it's been really heartwarming and it really helps me to realize that I'm not the only one who sees the amazing possibilities for people that attend the summit. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
So welcome.
And
It's value. I mean, and we've had a couple of conversations this week, and I've seen some of your conversations with some of our colleagues that are really talking about the value of this learning that's going to be happening. So
yeah.
tell us what we can expect.
Yeah, you can expect a lot of fellow creatives that have run the gamut of bringing deeply passionate, vulnerable work into the world, you know, and it's 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 a whole nother venture, right? Like when I put the summit together, it was really a heart job. And, you know, you got your wonderful professionals and mentors always leading you for success and outcomes. And you've got your heart on the line. Like, no, you know, they just like, and so when that's edited a little bit, it's a hard thing. And it's a hard balance to find, you know, the genuineness and the authenticity of the work that you want to present and the the ability to make it visible enough that the people that need it can find it, you know.
Mhm.
And I think as artists we're very particular about how people see us, and because our visions are specific, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And so every time we make a decision to show up for the work, we are putting that on the line.
Mm,
So that I think that's why it's so hard.
yeah.
When I started singing, it was like the hardest thing I'd ever done in my entire life. Like hard. And I thought that was hard until I started a group for singers. So kind of like your Rebel Writers group. I started a group for singers. And then when I started sending them out for performances,
Yeah.
that was like nerve-wracking, like it was so hard like seeing them like succeed or not succeed in the eyes of the world,
Right.
and knowing like everything they put into it and like all
Mhm.
of this kind of stuff. And so when I say I have a heart for the journey, like I really really do. And I just want to do my best to make sure that you follow through on your journey, because it is sorely needed right now, especially right now when people are so freaking stressed and so life is getting more and more complex. Sorry for doggy. Getting more and more complex. Like it is so necessary
Mm,
that we are showing up. We are needed to raise the vibration of everybody and
mm,
to help everybody find their own way
yeah.
into joy and love and community.
I love everything you just said. Um,
I felt like I was rambling a little.
no, it was great. Well, I want to pick out a few things here, like because what you're really speaking to is the vulnerability of putting ourselves out there, right? Because of the way that we can express ourselves. And then as leaders, how we help others express themselves. And we want to keep that balance between the authenticity and the like forward facing pieces, right? Like what is truly me inside, and do I have to show everything and all of it to the world and, basically like be a moving target for whatever comes my way, right? Or is there like this happy medium in some ways? Like, where are the safe spaces to be vulnerable and visible? And is it this is interesting where I'm my brain just shifted and was like, well, the safe space isn't necessarily out there, right? The safe space is in here. I know.
That is so true. I think a lot of times that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the affirmation, the confirmation when it does get out there. And that's one of the reasons why we procrastinate about putting it out there, right? Because we're expecting that to validate the work,
Mm,
and we can't, that's one thing as an artist, we can never allow outside to validate our work. Our work is valuable innately, and then you can share it with others if we choose to. Number one, we don't even have to. This is one of my
right.
biggest things. Like, it's yours. If you don't want to share it, don't. So they're like, like it can be just for you. The process can be just for you. The work can be just for you. The writing can be just for you. Maybe even just you and your family. I always say the first step is, do you want to share it with your family? Do you want to share it with, your neighborhood? Like you can make smaller steps. Not everything has to be, number one Wall Street Journal
Right.
things, like but also I think we can find our communities. This is how we can
Mm,
build I guess numbers, like the amount of people that get to see our work and still feel safe
mm,
is to build a community that gets you, you know and
yeah.
that's really how I got started in sharing my work, because it was weird and I was scared to tell people about it. And and so first I just started with like 40 people that I trusted, and that,
Mm,
I had people asking to be in my group and I wouldn't let them in because didn't feel safe with them.
yeah.
Right. And so in the beginning, it can be baby steps. Like you can be just, the people that you're comfortable with, the people that you want to see it, and you
Mm,
want their opinion, you're interested in what they have to say or not. And
right.
you can declare that too. Like, like I'm not really open for opinions, but I wanted you to see what I was up to.
Yeah.
That
I love that. Like, I just, like, we don't think we can say that up front. Like, what is
Yeah.
that? Why don't we? Like, I'm going to show this thing to you. I'm not really interested in your feedback, but
You can totally say, and you know, when I had my singers group, we used to do practice sessions, and one of the things, you know, was kind of like a master class because we all were singers, you know,
right.
and I always said before they started, I was like, I would tell them, you know, pick your level of feedback. Do you just want positive feedback? Do you just want do you want to just know like about your addiction or like specific things? Or, like you're only concerned about that because that's what you're working on right now, right? Like in the other stuff you'll get to later maybe. Like tell us what kind of feedback you want. If you're open to all and any feedback, if it's a good day for you, like go get it, right? You know what I'm saying? Like so I think it is. I think it's important that we can set the terms. We can make the rules on
Mm,
how people are allowed to interact with us
yes.
and
Yes.
our work. Yeah,
Oh,
for sure, for
I love it
sure.
so
And
much.
then also like finding other places where what you're valued is valued, what you value is valued,
Yes.
right? Like outside communities or you know communities you can connect to.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be everyone, right? We're never going to,
No.
and it shouldn't be.
And it
And
shouldn't be
Sal's
anything.
here. Sal's here. I want to say hi to Sal.
Hi,
Just
Sol.
oh, there's her comment. Yes, we are the boundary declarers, says
Yes,
Sal.
we
I love
are.
that so
I
much.
have this awesome meme I put on Instagram that says, stop worrying about what everybody thinks. You don't even like everybody. You don't even like everybody. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is my meme. I'm putting it on my wall. Like, you know, like, why do we care so much what everybody thinks? Like, we don't even like most of these people. Um, And this is so true, especially for highly sensitive people. I think, especially maybe even for writers. I have a lot of writer
Oh yeah.
friends.
Oh yeah.
But I think all creatives, you know, we got
Uh-huh.
opinions.
We do. Everybody's got one.
Everybody's got
Oh, this is so much fun, man. I could talk about all these things for hours.
like, yeah,
Tell me, yeah, and we have an amazing conversation that is going to be featured next week in the Voicing Your Vision Summit. So
really
sure,
cool.
and I will put a link down in the comments too for those of you who are here and catching the replay if you want to register. Now, can people register up until like the start date? We start Monday,
We
right?
start Monday and you can register up to Monday. Yeah. So go ahead and jump in. But if you need to, you know, need to get organized, yeah, you got a little bit of time. Yeah.
I love it. And you have, so there's some real interactive parts too. And
Yeah.
yeah, tell us a little bit about that because I think that's one of the most exciting parts that we get to experience next
Yes.
week.
Well, there's two consistent live components to the summit, which is in the mornings, and we'll be doing the review for the day and letting you know how you can win extra stuff, bonuses, prizes, this kind of thing. And then in the afternoon, so 1 o'clock Pacific, so that's what 4 o'clock Eastern. We'll be doing a workshop for our Visibility Toolbox workbook. So, what we're going to do is you'll get a workbook, a PDF, in which you can fill in your takeaways from each of the interviews. And so, what we'll be doing is putting together the gems and the tips so that we can decide what we want to prioritize and what we want to do more of in our own work and life.
That's so amazing. I have to say, we've been around the conference circuit. We've done this thing and it can be, you get so much good information, but then you get like totally overwhelmed. And it's like, I've especially like live in person conferences, they give you a bag and it holds all your stuff. You like get
I
home and
know.
I'm so
And then
like
you enter a
inundated.
doorway and everything just clears from the last recession.
And then, that darn bag, I'll pick it up like 2 months later and be like, oh yeah, I wanted to
Oh
read that. Oh
yeah.
yeah, I wanted to look at, but you are
Where's my
brilliant.
note?
Yeah, you are brilliant because you are offering this like check-in piece and this ability for everybody to decide where they want to focus their extension of the learning from the week, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, I will be using it myself. I keep telling people this. I'll be using it myself. I will actually be attending the summit as I'm hosting and making my own notes because what I like to do each year is in the winter. So December, I take a couple weeks and I review my year and I kind of deep dive. I walk away from the computer. Last year, I was
Mhm.
like a solid 2 weeks. I did not pick up my laptop. I did use my phone, but I did not use my laptop. And then, and yeah, and it was beautiful. I thought it was gonna be like watching videos or TV or this. I was not. I had no desire.
Mm,
So, anyways, but during that time, I'm going to be reviewing these things and deciding what am I gonna make sure I make a part of my day and my work. What am I going to maybe do a deeper dive into to um, to see what really means for me? Like a lot of these things are about how you do it differently. Like what feels
mm,
safe for you,
mm,
what is visibility that works for you because not everything works for everybody. So a lot of that, might take a little bit more ruminating on to say like what has worked in the past for me? What am I really attracted to and what is not at all
mm.
attractive to me
Yeah,
when it
yes.
comes to
Like
this
what
stuff.
feels forced and what feels like organic or natural or
Yeah.
and really speaking into that. And I do want to mention too what that there's a real focus on HSPs, so highly sensitive people, right? And if you are somebody who hasn't heard of that before, but you're here in Rebel Riders, chances are you've got a little HSP in you,
Yeah,
right?
somebody in my group was like, "What's highly sensitive mean?" I'm like, "Really? Okay, let's have this conversation."
Break
I
it
was
down.
like, "Because I know you're highly sensitive.
Right,
We are in the same family."
right. Well, and
Yeah.
it's interesting too, because I initially had some resistance to the term, highly sensitive person, because you think of somebody who's just, there's not you, but for me, I had, it was a little triggering because in my upbringing, not for my family, but, I mean, I did grow up with two older brothers, so I had to be a little gruff and tough, right? But
Yeah.
that's not like HSP doesn't mean just because you're highly sensitive doesn't mean you're weak. In fact, I would argue that we are much stronger
We had to
because we are,
survive being ourselves.
yeah, but because we are constantly being like bombarded with, the all the stimulus in the environment, whether it's lights, whether it's sound, whether it's energy, whether it's people, whether it's, whatever it is. And, I really think it's because we're all so brilliant. Our brains really just want to take in everything.
This is so true. Like
Yeah.
so much truth. Like I spoke with Meredith yesterday, I think. And and that was one of the things that came up because she was like, I do have ADHD and like I'll be speaking and I'll be like giving a talk on live on Facebook and then I'll look through the window and it's a hummingbird and I'm like hummingbird and I'm and she's like, and she's brilliant, like truly brilliant.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think again we like criticize ourselves for these things, but honestly, like we wouldn't get the downloads, we wouldn't get the aha moments, we wouldn't get the words that you're writing if you weren't open and available to things that most people miss.
Yeah.
And we call it distraction, we call it procrastination, we call it all this negative stuff. And it's really like you're just brilliant makeup, and we just got to honor it and recognize it and give it a productive environment in which to do the cool stuff, you know?
Yes. Yes. The productive environment instead of like, well, see, now my dogs are barking to your dog. Um,
They always pick the perfect moments.
I know. But it's true. Like things have been set up in such a way that it sort of breeds that negative feeling. that comes up, or this idea that I should be able to focus in this particular way, and I should be able to complete this task in this amount of time, or I should, all those shoulds.
All
Um,
those shoulds.
and I love how you say, there is possibility in the work that you do with your clients, is part of that. It's creating that environment and that self-compassion, and that that openness to do the thing, to show up, to create your vision,
Yeah,
in a way
yeah.
that suits.
Yeah, and my work, like, I would say the core principle of the work is really, again, to create that safe space, right? With
Mhm.
and until my clients can do it for themselves, like I'm basically leading that process, and helping them recognize when they're there. Like
Mm,
that's kind of the work in and of itself, is helping them recognize when they're there. Because when something's working, a lot of times when we are in constant criticism mode, a lot of times you don't even realize what is working.
yes. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Like I've seen it so many times, like because we're so critical of the things that aren't working, right? That we aren't paying attention to what is working.
Mm,
And it's so not productive. Like I call our end goal in our voice work is efficiency. Like let's just make things as efficient as possible so we can enjoy the
mm,
beauty of creating, of being artistic, of making a landscape and seeing it happen, and get to enjoy it instead of worrying all the time about what's not going to happen. That's our end goal. And and one of the essential parts is that we stop focusing on what's not working and we start paying attention to what is. Because
mm.
if we can
I love
focus on what is working, we can do more of it and we can see what's in the way of it,
Mhm.
right? Instead of focusing on what's not working and then not knowing ever why. Like we'll never figure out, because that's life. Like things don't work sometimes, but
Yeah,
but if we focus on what
brilliant.
is working, we can do more of it,
I love
you
it. I
know?
love it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, with my year-long clients, we use this writing tracker that I've coined the ta-da list of writing. And I didn't create the ta-da list. I picked that up from someone else. But
Yeah, I
on a
love that.
writing tracker, it's like putting down all the things that there are all sorts of tasks that we do that isn't just sitting down at the computer and typing, or sitting with your notebook and penning out the next chapter. And we have to like consciously go in and remind ourselves of all the things we are doing in a day, um, that get to the end goal of whatever it is you're creating, because it's so much more than just the doing of that
There's
concrete thing.
there's all the things that get you there,
Yeah.
you know, especially as I mean, I by the way, hats off to all of you writers. It's like seriously, like I bow before the like writing is one of those things that are still a challenging experience for me. My hand doesn't want to do the thing. My brain will lock up if with a blank page, all that kind of thing. And if I'm not breathing, which is like kind of my core principle of of technique, right? If I'm not doing that breath, then nothing's happening. Nothing will happen. Nothing will ever happen. Anyways, but that's why I appreciate all of the work that y'all do to make the thing happen. But we have to realize and count and give ourselves
Mm-hmm.
the applause for all the stuff that gets us to the page. Like, that it it can look a lot of ways. Like I call it showing up, like showing up for yourself, showing up for the work, showing up for the people that you serve, right? Like um and and showing up to the work is like it's a whole thing by itself. Like did you like even getting there, making practice time for voice people. Literally, I could spend like half of our sessions, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah.
every day on about like, did you practice this week? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it turned into a coach, right? Not because I'm a musical coach. I know I'm not a musical coach for those who know better. Um, but I am a coach. I'm a life coach because I will help you show up
Yep.
for the things that you say are important to you,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And that's the process of life, because if you're not doing that, then you're not doing the things that you value. You're not enjoying your life,
Right. Right. Right.
you
Mm.
know? And if
More
you're
joy.
not enjoying like the inner child thing, do y'all talk about that? Like I mean, I don't know about your inner child, but mine will literally take the keys to the kingdom and walk out. Like
Right.
it'll be like, screw this whole thing. Like, where's the bed? Where's my slippers?
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't want to do
Yep.
anything but read somebody else's work. Like, that's what I do. I
Yep.
just listen to somebody else's book and listen to somebody else's teaching, or listen to,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
read something else. Like, I could do that for the rest of my life. That's my comfort zone, but
Yeah.
that's not our job. That's not our, not in the long term, you know?
No, it's not.
It's not.
We got to get out there. We got to be
It's not
visible.
the job. Yeah, but yeah, like we don't, and yeah, we get to choose when to get visible,
Mm,
but that is the end goal. And it doesn't have to be all the time,
right. Right.
especially for us HSPs. Like, it does not have to be all the time.
Yeah.
It does not. It just has to be on the to-do list. It has to be part of what's going, or going to happen. It's in the
Right.
plans, and that if we miss it, that we're rethinking again what is important to us.
Mm.
What do we want the core of our life to be about?
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. What do we want? I'm writing this down. The core of our lives to be about.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is the essential question.
What is that guy who says, he's like, look at the things closest to you in your workspace, and in like and around you, like where you are most often, you know, and to see if what you say is important to you shows up in the space. Have you
Ah,
heard this guy? Like, what's his name? I don't
doesn't
even know.
show up
Sorry.
in his face.
Sorry, guy.
Sorry, guys.
Like,
We'll
look
figure it out.
and see if it's echoed, and if it's not, then
Yeah, there's
why
that
not?
disconnect. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I find oftentimes that includes our time. Like, how much time are you spending on what you say is important to you,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And so it's kind of like, and again, we're always, it's life, right? This is not for you to go and chastise yourself about.
You're right. Why aren't I spending my time?
This is for you to realize that there's just points in which um, we can move toward, right? And
Yeah.
and find
Yeah.
and rebalance and find,
Yeah.
um, and when we say, we allow something to prioritize itself over the things that we are committing to,
Mm.
then just saying, is it really important, or why am I making it more important? Right? Because this is
Mhm.
where that self
Yep.
work is always showing up. It's
Yeah.
always showing up. It's like, well, do I really think it's important? Why don't I think it's important? Um, well, because I want my husband to love me. I don't want to damage the children.
Right.
Like,
Right.
there's all these reasons that are about other people 9 times out of 10.
Mm.
And and especially for partners, right? Like, is it because you are valuing what they want over
Mm.
what you want? And why isn't what you want as or more valuable?
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Mhm.
it's a toughie, but you really got to ask these questions,
Yes.
because that's what we're here for.
Yes, yes, we are. And to approach it from this, view of like curiosity and wonder. Like, I just love the way you were just so gently posing these questions. Like, but that's it, right? It doesn't have to be more than that. It's like, oh, well, let me think about this for a minute.
And
And
you're
then I can choose.
And that's again, that's kind of my thing about space. Like the space does not have to be judgmental. It's just be observant. Like just be
Mhm.
aware. That's the first step, and you'll notice like if you just pay attention, then things will start to shift themselves. You don't really have to make yourself better. This is the concept. You don't have to, make yourself better. You just got to be aware. It's like, oh yeah, I'm always wanting to get up from my work to help my kids, or to help, or to make sure the house is clean for the hubby gets home, or something like. And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
It's just a matter of like, well, how many times are you going to interrupt your work
Mhm.
to do that? And do you want to balance that out a little bit?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
can the house be dirty that one time when they get home? And then maybe, the other four times, you go ahead and do it. But like, you know,
And some of that stuff is so unconscious. And I'm going to totally call myself out right now because I want other, because I am a person, I like to have a clean space, right? And I like, especially in the kitchen, I like, the dishwasher can be, you just put the dish in there. Um, can you hear that?
yeah, what is it?
It's a hummingbird. No, it's
So
sorry.
loud
It's
now.
the University of Iowa Hawkeyes football game just started, and that was the
The band.
flyover. They
Oh,
have, yeah, it just flew over my house. Um,
oh, that's fun.
yeah, it's super cool. It was just also super loud, so I don't know if you heard it.
Yeah, it wasn't as loud over here. I just heard like
Okay.
kind of this thunderous movement. I'm
Yeah,
like,
they're
huh.
these super cool like stealth airplanes, and they fly in
Yes.
formation and they fly over the football field.
We're
And
near the base too, and over
yes.
here too. So same.
Um. Anyway, but what was I saying? Oh, because you said so. Like you said, oh, having the kitchen clean before the hubby gets home, right? Okay. So that is something that I'm immediately like, oh, nobody thinks that way anymore. I'm not, this is liberal. I'm so free, yada, yada, yada. But you know what I do every day? I work from home. My partner works outside the home. And by 4 o'clock, I am putting those dishes in the dishwasher unconsciously, even if I have something else to do, because I want it clean when he gets home. Did he ask me ever? No, never. Not once. Would he care if there were dirty dishes? Nope. But to me, like somewhere deep down, and I don't know if it's, upbringing or, generational or DNA or what, but there's something that propels me to have it clean. Like, is it because I need to look like I can do it all? Let's look
Are
at this.
you like, are we like in a competition with our mothers at all?
Right,
Maybe,
right.
possibly. It could happen. Like I so much of that. I am the least wifely person on the planet.
Yeah.
Like the least wifely person on the planet. And still came up for me, right? Like it still comes up for me, you know. It's a conversation I had to purposely have with the
Yeah.
husband who just came in the room. Um, no, please. Oh God. Here we go.
Oh, hi. You're live in Rebel Riders. You're
How are
so cute.
you?
He
Oh,
doesn't know.
great.
You're live in Rebel Writers group.
Am I?
Mhm.
Yes, you
You
are.
have
That's
cool glasses.
fantastic.
Yes.
I love the floating head.
It's like the floating head thing. I'm like, you're gonna scare people when your face pops out. He doesn't care. So,
I
but it's
love
a
it.
conversation we had to have because I knew that the perception was that because I'm at home doing whatever, that I'm not working as hard,
Yeah.
you know? And that, the way value comes in from the work I do doesn't look the same, right?
Yeah.
And so when that's happening, like we have to have these conversations about how, like, even if I'm doing nothing, my time is still valuable, right? Because
Right.
the nothingness allows me to
Nothing. Yeah.
be productive when I am doing something, you
Right.
know? Like, and so yeah, it can be hard, especially for guys, they're definitely the masculine representation. Like, I want proof, kind of ideas. But that's our kind of our job, a little bit of our job about, a little bit of our societal job of shifting that perspective of what true, again, what where value lies. Is
Mm,
it is it not valuable until I make money from it? Is it not valuable until you have proof? Is it not valuable? Yeah, no, that's not a truth, right?
right.
Like,
Right.
meditation isn't valuable while you're doing it necessarily. I mean, in the eyes of society,
Right.
I
Yeah.
guess
Like,
there's no product you can put on a shelf, right? This is
right.
where,
When you're done. Oh, look, I
yeah,
meditated. Look what
it's
I
like I
created.
just spent an hour. Look what I look at the results, right?
But
Like everything
actually,
is results oriented,
right. But actually, we do get results when we do
of
nothing,
course,
when we meditate. And
of
those
course.
results allow us to then, later
The
on.
truth is, it's like exponentializes anything else we do for the day, right? Like our something that we can spend 5 hours on with no clear direction and like just a real true waste of time can become, 3 days worth of work if you've done a decent meditation, right? So
Yeah.
the reality, the truth is completely opposite, but it's not talked about enough as a high value activity. And it's the same for any rest
Yeah.
that you incorporate in your day and or your life.
Hmm.
And if we're not doing something, if we're not getting something done, we have a tendency to deprioritize it, right? Like,
Right.
we're like, well, I'm not really, like, my husband called, are you doing anything? Well, I mean, what do you mean by doing something? Like, I'm doing nothing, which is
Hmm.
important sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
like, I'm
Right.
doing nothing so I can do the next thing,
Right.
so it's interesting again how we talk to each other and how we interpret these things.
Hmm. Hmm. Absolutely. Well, and even internally, like I have a lot of trouble doing nothing. Like, and I have to make myself sit there
Yeah.
because I get anxious if I'm not, if, all the things are here and I have to do that, and so, and then until I can like bring myself back down,
Yeah.
right? But it's so not, it feels so unnatural
Yeah.
until you create that habit
Oh,
to
it's
give yourself
deeply
that space.
ingrained. I think it's generational for me. Like, I know it came from my mom,
Mhm.
especially with the cleaning thing. Like, well, if you're not doing anything, you might as well clean something. I literally had to train it out of myself. Like, I
Yeah.
spent significant time not doing and then being okay with myself not for not
Mm,
doing.
I
You
love that.
know, it was not easy.
Yeah.
Like, and it's hard because you also feel like you have to justify the not doingness. Like, if
Yeah.
somebody asks you, what are you up to lately? Doing nothing. It's like, stop talking to me like this.
Even justified it a minute ago when you were talking about meditating. I was like, yeah, but I meditate because it makes me a better creator.
Right, because that's the point.
Why can't I just meditate?
Why
Because
can't it just be valuable in and of itself?
right,
Yes.
I know. Mm, we could talk for hours, girl.
Yes, yes. Be good. This is like
Good.
because it's huge and it's so insidious,
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
so insane.
It just invades everything. And that's why I always break it down to the feminine energy principle, because we are just blanket anything of feminine energy, it's less than the
Yeah.
masculine version,
Right.
and so we like that's my secret mission. They
Mm.
might come after me one day, because my secret mission is to reprogram
Yeah.
this concept. And I know for most of us it really just starts with ourselves and
Yeah.
like valuing what we need, because we that identify as women are a strong feminine energetic representation
Hmm.
of this reality. And so the more work we do with ourselves and valuing what we want, what we need, and what we do, like the more that whole thing can start shifting for everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. My goodness. Well, Rebel Riders, if this conversation is as filling for you as it is for me, and you want more, there's plenty more where this came from. I will make sure to get that link down in the comments for Voicing Your Vision. It starts Monday, it runs all through the week. There are incredible, so many incredible speakers, some wonderful live components, and Monifa will be there to help you figure out where your priorities are, what you want to focus on. Um, I just love it. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. And yes, definitely come. Like, it's one of my favorite talks. And yeah, I do have favorites, so we're not going to discuss the others. But like truly, like it is one of my favorite talks on the summit, and I think that your group will love it. So
Hmm.
come out and have some fun with us.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. All right, Rebel Riders. We'll see you again soon.
See
Bye.
ya.